Hey, hello. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? We have a different setup today. I'm able to move this my gaming table around because I put wheels on it. So we've got 3 cameras. Got the one on the laptop, which you're seeing now, and view of Rocky, and there's the world map, and my small collection of HO cars. Riverside, yeah, John, it gets pretty hot out there. Is that where you said you're from? Let's see, make sure. Yep, Riverside. John, you're not too far from It's My Railroad, Steve Brown. I think he's a little bit to the west of you. Kind of miss his shows. Yeah, Dwight, let's see, we got John Paulson, who's a frequent contributor to Roy Smith's Facebook group. You've seen a lot of his photos of his layouts from time to time. Got Dan Tyson, who happens to be my brother. Yeah, I'm increasing the audience by having my family watch. Let's see, switch the camera up here. Dwight from somewhere in the Midwest. Was it Indiana? Missouri? I don't know. Yeah, Steve Brown is still on YouTube, but he doesn't produce videos that often anymore. He got tired of doing stuff. Illinois, okay. I knew it was one of those states. Oh, you're practically a neighbor to my brother. Let's see if we can post up. Oh yeah, okay. Geez, look at the time. It's already 9 o'clock. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rocky Off the Rails. I seem to have stopped recording B-roll. Well, I did have some. I had the B-roll for my tank car challenge that was widescreen. My brother is Dan. Dan is my brother. Yep. Cool, John. Yeah. He's just not. Steve's been produced all these videos. They were great. I really loved his style. Um, Sometimes I think he got himself into trouble with his regular guy way, but it's just fine. It's nice to see people just do their own thing. I think he's built and destroyed 3 or 4 layouts. He's also someone that's got his layout currently, if he has one, it's in his garage. I think he also has another thing of having a lot of hobbies. So all the Johns. We don't have near as many Johns here today as will be at Dwight's show tomorrow, or Sidetrack Sunday. There's so many Johns. There's what who was it? Rick's daughter's boyfriend. His named John, so they named him what? John's 2637 or something. I don't know. Yeah. So what are we doing today? I went to the train store, Tammy's Hobbies, great little place here in Beaverton, Oregon, and picked up a few more ways of controlling turnouts or switches or points, I think, as they call them across the ocean. So let's I also have a new setup here. I have an overhead camera, so that's going to allow me to get a better view of what's going on here. Let me take this banner off the screen. Yeah, so got a little setup here. I've got, you can't see it's off the camera, but I pulled my DCS 210 DigiTrax command station off my layout, which is fairly easy to do, and hooked it up so we had power here. Got my controller here, my throttle, and we can actually turn the power on. I've got that hooked up through one of these DCC Specialties, DCC. It reads voltage on the top, and it reads amps on the bottom. So we're going through this to measure the amperage. And I've actually got, let's see, power's on. Let's select this loco. Boom. We've got power. And we can move the little engine back and forth just as a demo. Yeah, an RR amp meter. Yep. I have several. I think I have about 4 of them. 2 of them are built into my control panel, my layout, of which only 1 is in use because I don't have the other booster. So one of the reasons why I want to set this little track up here with a Kato number 6 was so we could demonstrate some of these. And forgive me, but there's some bit of glare here because I did this with a label maker. But today I've got just a sampling of all the ways that you could control besides your finger. Yeah, this is the easiest one right here. That's the easiest one to control your turnouts, especially in Kato. their mechanism is pretty good, and it's all self-contained in here. So there's also a solenoid in here, which we'll demonstrate in a second. So what did I do with it? I've got all the manuals here. So today I'll walk you through these. We've got, I'll start with the one, we're not going to do this one, but this is a DS74 by DigiTrax. And all the links for all of these things are all in the notes for the show. So if you want to look at them, probably most of you already have these, but I'm just going over these for people that will watch the show later. And the DS74 is the new version. It used to be a DS64, which was larger. And I have one of those here. It's a little bit larger footprint. And there's different capabilities here, including a loss of the capability. This DS64, you used to be able to program the turnouts that you wanted to respond to on your controller, on your throttle. Used to be able to do that with non-sequential numbers, but they kind of got rid of that. So DS74, you program the very first number, and yeah, there's ways to do it both through the throttle and through their other throttle, their newer throttle, their 602, I think it is, that I don't have in the room right now. But that has a little larger LED screen in it. So we're also going to go through one that at first came to my attention from Roy Smith, the late, great Roy Smith, SwitchKat. So this allows you to control a single Kato. That's why it's called cat. A single Kato turnout like we have here, and I'm going to show you that in a minute or two. Then they have another one called the SwitchIt, and the SwitchIt will control our friendly tortoise or other slow motion switch machines. So also go through that. And then there's another one called the Hare. This one's a little interesting. This one actually has, this one attaches directly. It slides on, well, the model I have slides on to older models of the Tortoise switch machines. I had to make a slight modification to, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I had to break off a little piece of the PC board here so it fit down into this. So that just slides on there, and then you hook up your track power to 1 and 2, and then you can also control via push buttons, and you can also have LED indicators on which direction the points are set. So we'll go over that one, the last one. Again, I thought we'd probably run out of time before I got to the DigiTrax ones, so maybe that's a topic for a different show. And those, I have quite a number of those on my layout. I think all of my turnout control is through DigiTrax DS74s. So let's get some of these moved out of the way here. Make some room. The first one that we're going to go over is the SwitchKat. So this is pretty easy. All you have to do is hook it up to track power. So you don't have to have a separate power supply or anything. You just hook it up to DCC track power, and then you hook the other ends up to the Kato switch. There is some other set of terminals over here, and that's for something we won't do today, except for programming it. You have the option over on this terminal block over on this side to hook it up to like a momentary push button, or I've got these momentary switches here that you could use to control turnouts. So this is a double pull, double throw, center off, but it's momentary. This is pretty common, of course, in layout construction, going way back, way back. Let's see. Then, if you choose to, on this, you can also. That's gonna focus or not. I think there's too much glare. This bottom section down here are some pads that you can solder to that you can hook up LEDs to, and that'll be, you could put that on a control panel or on your fascia to show which way that the turnout is thrown, which is handy for people that are eyesight challenged, like even I'm getting to be. The last part you can use it for is if you put this, the terminal, the programming terminal, connect that to ground, and then you can program this SwitchKat to respond to any of your DCC switch commands. So we're going to go over that. So first, let me go and hook up the switch machine. And these things are a little bit fiddly. Usually go right there. But you see I've got those little barrels that I attached that we went over in the last show. Crimp those on. Usually crimp those on. That keeps the stray wires from shorting. And it also makes those wires last longer if you're going to attach them to things. And then I have to go and get some track power. So I've made up some little leads here. So first of all, we'll turn off the track power. Push the power button and no. Okay, turns off the power and you see no more power indicated on our ramp meter. And then go and hook up, I don't knock over the train, the locomotive. I got black, which is my A wire. So DigiTrax calls things rail A and rail B. And I usually put B for blue, or my colored wire, which is in this case is red, because I didn't have any blue leads handy. So let's just put that in. And which ones you put this in here at the moment doesn't seem to matter. It may matter depending on which ways the points get done in a second. And then hook up the, this is the, get in there. And I get the screwdriver in the slot. Okay, now all those are snugly in, and we're not going to use this side for the moment because that's just the programming or the ability to do the push buttons. Now we'll just see. Were we successful? We got track power again, lights on the locomotive, and we'll go to the switch, and it's already on switch 1, and I'll do throw it. Oh, look at that. And I'm just pushing it on the throttle, thrown, closed. So that's really all there is to that. It's really simple. So let's go through, let's turn off the power. The only thing, a downside of, I think, about these is they only control one turnout each. So they're not that expensive. I think they were like 20 bucks, but I mean, that could be expensive if you've got a lot of turnouts. And while they don't take up much space, they still take up space. So anyways, okay, I've got this ground to the programming terminal set, and we'll turn the power back on. And what that does is that says, hey, we'll go ahead and, oh, look, who snuck in? Big John, John 2, welcome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining, everyone. What they putting that jumper in there actually allows us to go and once the power is reapplied to the track, we can go in and program it. So we go back to the switch, and I'm going to say this one SwitchKat, I want it to be 200, so I'll program in 200, and I'll throw it and close it, exit out of there, and I'll turn the power back off. Disconnect the programming again. Take that jumper out. We won't need that anymore. I'm going to go and turn the power back on. I'll go back over to switch, and we're already at 200. So throw, close, throw. I did something wrong. Let's see, is it still 1? Yeah, it's still 1. It's actually being a little bit finicky here. It's not even working like I expected it to. Hey, you know, this is like live demos here. Everybody who knows about live demos, they never go as intended. This worked perfectly last night. So I'll go back and put this back on here. And I'll connect it back up again. Just switch this back to closed. This worked perfectly the first time. Now it's misbehaving, of course. Yeah, I turned off the track power and turned the track power back on. And right now we're off again. I'm going to turn it on. And we're going to go to switch, 200, throw, close, I suppose. And then we'll go back to power off. Disconnect the programming jumper. And this is the only one that of this style that you actually have to swap a jumper in and out. And that's perfectly fine, because most times that you just are never going to reprogram this after you do this. So we'll try 1. So 1 is not responding anymore, which is expected. There we go. 200. It doesn't want to close. Interesting. Okay. Well, this is what we get for, yeah, it's being finicky. So let's turn the power off again. Maybe we'll just change the direction of the polarity of the switch. Yeah. This is how live, live television works, You guess things don't go as planned. Guess I could do the thing that we never do, which is go back and read the instructions again. But there's not a lot there. Let's turn the power back on. I'll go to switch. Yep. It just doesn't. Oh, there it goes finally. Huh. Well, there you go. This one's not as reliable as I would have wanted it to be, but we'll just go with it. And I'll figure that out later. It's probably something. It's also gone through a cycle of being programmed and then being programmed back to switch 1 for this demonstration. So there could be something there, but it was very reliable right out of the package, and I switched it to switch 200. Not a big endorsement by me right here. But that was the SwitchKat. So now to do the other two are our slow motion turnouts, right? So our tortoises. So I've got this is another terminal that I didn't show last time, but this just slides on to your tortoise switches. So you have a couple options here. You can solder wires to these, which of course is really fun. Yeah, John, I will call up a different number and go back to 200. Well, I could do that, but it's all disconnected right now. We'll try some debugging later. So let's go. That was a SwitchKat. And the programming part is just this part right here. Really doesn't say a whole lot. Use your DCC to throw the accessory. So maybe I shouldn't have pushed C. So that could be it. To close, maybe I should just thrown it, which is the button marked option on there. And then you remove the jumper wire. Yeah, do not leave the jumper wire in place after you programmed, or you'll not be able to control the switch. Yeah. But probably something really simple that I just missed there. Probably is because when I program some of the DigiTrax ones, yeah. So John also likes these. From my other show, remember, I go out of my way in every way possible to make sure that I never am soldering underneath the layout. So these are real handy. They just slide right off, slide on. And this is like the second generation of these. I think they're a little wider so that you don't have to do a little. I took some rail nippers and broke off pieces of the PCB board there to make it so it would slide onto this older style that's on the Hare. This is a little bit narrower, just a slight bit narrower. It's just enough that doesn't allow it to slide on to these newer tortoises. Anyways, so we got these two, and the two pins that we're interested in connecting for just this demonstration are just pin 1 and pin 8, which control the direction that the servo is going to move. So we can, track power is off, so it doesn't matter initially which one you're connected to. So I'm going to put red is on 8. And this isn't quite what I want to do, is it? We need another set of jumpers here. Hey, Boxcar Jerry. Jerry, welcome. For this, we need actually a second set of jumpers here. Get my shorter ones. So let's see, we're going to go with this is it. Two things. Let me go back up here. What is the SwitchIt Mark II? So it doesn't, see if I have a schematic. Yeah, kind of. So it goes over all the programming of this. Goes over all the pinouts or the terminal blocks on here. So what we want to do, and they put a you've got once again track power on with these ones marked track 1. Track these two first terminals down here on this side. And then you can control, with this one, you control 2 switch machines. So you control switch machine A, or switch machine 1, and switch machine 2 here. So that's what we want to do here. We want to go and hook up 2 jumper wires into this terminal here. We're going to use 1. And this doesn't really matter on which polarity initially. It will matter once you figure out which way you want thrown and which way you want closed. But again, I'm going to put the red on 8. And the black wire on 1. I can then just slide that onto our servo. We'll lay that down. I guess I put this little twist tie in here so we can see that it's actually moving. So I'll put one of the track powers in that jumper in that terminal, and put the other one into the other one. Yeah, this is all, I think, fairly straightforward and boring, unless it doesn't work. Then the excitement comes. Okay, so we got this all wired up. And again, this is the NCE SwitchIt Mark II. You can see that through the glare. And so, yeah, so we're going to, so this should control this servo, this solenoid, this slow motion turnout, when we apply track power. So we got track power, and I heard it, I don't know if you heard it, but it did make a little sound, and it's got this little wig wag It's got a little single LED display here, like a 7-segment or 8-segment, 7-segment and a dot. Okay, and so this is let me see, where did I put that? Take that off there. This is when it's in that wig-wag thing. According to the instructions, that means that it is ready. It's receiving a DCC signal. And by default, if I go to switch 1 and throw, close, there we go, it moved. So we achieved the same thing we did with the SwitchKat on 1. There's a little bit different thing, and we don't need to use any jumper wires to program this, so maybe it'll be less finicky. So according to the manual, you click the Select Output button down here, and you'll see that the red LED on that switch, I don't know if you can see it. See, it's kind of lit up there. Yeah, this that's true. I think, John, that I bought something that nobody. It was obvious to me, and especially since the revision K is September 10th, 2013. This had been on the shelf at my hobby store for many years now. In fact, when I took it out of its packaging, the rubber band was already broken. So that would explain why. And I think right now you can buy a new revision of this, like John said here. You can buy a new revision of this that will allow it to slide on to the newer versions, because this is actually, according to that quality assurance sticker, I think that means 2024 and March of 03. Be my guess. But down here, let's go back to the SwitchIt, and it's got a flashing 1, and that means that is what it's going to respond to for sending a DCC signal to it. So to program this, you hit the program output, a P will flash, and now I'm going to go to 300 and push the T only this time. And now, good. Look at that. It's now reading out 300. This select output is still set, so I'm going to click the select output once and twice, and now it's back to the wigwags right here. And with that, I don't think we even need to power cycle. And I already have 300 set. So let's go back to 1. Throw, close, no reaction. So let's go to 300. Close, throw. So success. This one's already more successful than the previous one. And so this earns a score by me. The SwitchKat, I think I get a failing grade for not successfully completing the demo. So Boxcar, yep. Hey, Jerry. Let's see. Okay, so we got that. That's great. And again, there's wigwags. There's a bunch of other things you can control in here. All these other terminals, there's 6 other terminals up here, actually allow you to have push button controls. let's see the wiring on that. You can wire them up. Not all of them are involved, but you use, let's see, actually you do use all of them. So you can put that on your fascia and have momentary switches. So 4 more momentary. Who makes that? Sorry. SwitchIt is made by NCE. Their tagline is the power of DCC. One of the favorite things for Ken Patterson, if you know the What's Neat This Week, he's always got even the guy from that show on. They make fairly good products. I've got a few decoders. Yep, John called it. NCE makes SwitchIt, and they also make SwitchKat and decoders for your locomotives. Although I'm mostly a DigiTrax one. Okay, so 2 down. So now we have the last one, which actually should be the easiest one to do. Turn the track power off again. So, yeah, let's get to that. Let's actually leave this one hooked up. Put it over to the side. And we'll bring in the Hare. Now, on the packaging, they said only put track power to pins 1 and 2. If you do any other ones, yeah, you just may have screwed up your $30 little piece of equipment here. So this is the Hare. I was mentioning this before. This is the Hare. It's by DCC Specialties. It's the same company that makes this RR amp meter. They also make things like what do you call it? On your power meter or power districts. They make things for that. They also make little circuit breakers, so you can hook those up so that you're not so when you get a short, it'll turn things off for you. But yeah, they're one of a number of companies that makes a bunch of different things that are pretty helpful for model railroading. Again, that's DCC Specialties. You can find them at a lot of places. I think I put a link to them. I couldn't find a good link to their official website, but I put a link to them from, I think, Tony's Trains, which is a store that's out on the East Coast that I buy a lot of DCC stuff from. Whenever my other go-to places, like my hobby store or Mike Pfeiffer's Pfeiffer Hobby Supply, those of us N-scalers are familiar with him. Probably not so much for your HO people and other scales. But Mike's also one of those really great guys. So we got what should be the only hookup we have to do, except for sliding this on to the turnout, the tortoise. So we got that hooked up. We still have the SwitchIt hooked up. Let's put this down here. This is the Hare. Okay, just need to apply power again. And there is a light flashing on the board. Just came on intermittently. And we'll go to switch. And all these things come with switch number 1. as the default. And then you see it's going. I thrown it and closed it. I got it there. So this one requires a slightly different programming. You can program this kind of on the main. Let's see how I did this. First, since I'm going to program this via the handset again here, and it doesn't have something where it's doing it, I pulled my locomotive off. And I did this last night and read the instructions. And you can do this by the configured CVs are programmed in ops mode on the main, also by moving the program jumper. Okay. Didn't I say you didn't have to do that? But yeah, so let's turn the power off. Power off. And there's this jumpers right here, and they have two positions. They're currently hooked to 2 to 3, and you just move those over to 1 to 2. Now it says it's ready to be programmed. Apply a power. I'll go to switch, and I'll make that 400. And I will throw that. And then I'm going to power cycle. And we need to take that jumper and move it back to the 2 to 3 position. Turn the power back on. And just for grins, I'm going to go to switch 1. And look, I was unsuccessful programming this. Yep. John's pointed this out. He's more the expert than I am. It's important to remember that addresses are set and CVs are programmed. DCC systems follow specific program sequence reliably. Program the Hare. Page 16. That's not what I want. That's for programming routes. Did I need to be in ops mode? Maybe I need to be in ops mode, or programmed in ops mode on the main. Also by moving the programming jumper. So wow, I am 1 for 3 today, even though I successfully did this last night. All right. Let's see, what will we try here? Will we just try to do this again? Let's put it 1 to 2. Let's put power back on. And we'll go to switch 400. Throw, close. It did have a little light that came on there. And then I will power off. No power. Move the jumper wire back to 2 to 3. And then power back on. Switch. Yes. Okay. What did I do differently here? I actually had to, in this case, push the throw and the close button, and then it took the programming. So that's now at 400. Go back to what you programmed the Hare. The SwitchIt is programmed at 300. And that one is also still moving. So success. I 2 for 3 today. I'd say I'm a good Major League Baseball hitter. And let's see. Yep. So, wow. And that's all I have for today. Again, we've got 3 different switch machine controllers, 2 by NCE, the SwitchKat. Let me get the instruction manual through over here. SwitchKat. SwitchKat and SwitchIt Mark II. And the Hare. To play on words there. Also, they make the Wabbit because they're funny people. And this is the one that connects directly to. So this one only requires, this is the easiest wire up there is. Just take from your track power, which you might have, you probably have handy. You don't have to have any other power coming to this tortoise. And if we watch and see how both of these are powered by track power, let's see what the amperage is. The amperage is supposed to be fairly low. You see that the RR amp it didn't even change the amperage, and I believe I've got that routed correctly. It's routing through there, so it should be picking up any change in amperage. It's only 0.07. And just to see another thing here, let's go back to run the train again. We can run the train down to here. And this is another feature of Kato. It's power routing. So once, because I don't have a lead, I only have power on this end of the turnout. So it's power routing. So now it has power again. We can reverse off of there. All right. Dwight, what did you want me to go over again? Oh, what just happened here? How could there be a short? Do I have this out? My trucks were not on the rails. Okay. Yep, the rear axle was off. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell. In about 45 minutes, we went over all 3 of those. I'll figure out later why that SwitchKat's not behaving. Wouldn't let me reprogram it. And also, it wasn't actually controlling the switch. It wasn't only going one direction. So maybe I blew it up. I'll figure it out. Yeah, so let's go back to, let's go to the settings, change the camera, and wave to everybody. So yeah, that's it. This is a different view of my game/Lego display room. Remember, you close the SwitchKat in programming where the directions said not to. Ooh. Yes. So take that as a lesson of things not to do. I've already gone down that path for you. so you can actually read the directions clearly and follow them precisely, and you should have better results than I had trying to program it for the SwitchKat. For me, I probably would rarely use the SwitchKat. I know Roy Smith used them because he didn't have any. I don't think he had any DS. Oh, I've got it on the camera. Yeah, I don't think he had any DS64s. And I remember that he wanted to control both ends, 2 switches in his staging yard. He wanted to control both of those remotely from his throttle, so he wouldn't have to worry about those. But I think he put 2 on there. Yeah, I forget which show that he said. It was one of the shows where he was going over changes that he made to his staging yard, because initially when he built the staging yard, I think it was one direction. I think he had to reverse trains in and out. He later made it so you could go and run trains full through there. But yeah, it would be a handy thing. It's a very small footprint, and it just takes track power. So all 3 of these here, they only take track power. You don't need a wall wart, which you might need with a DS 74 or 64. It's a wall wart we'll plug in there, or another source of, I think, 15 volts for these. And then, of course, you've got your LocoNet, which is their proprietary, DigiTrax proprietary networking. But these are also fairly straightforward to hook up. I have a dozen of them because I have a lot of turnouts in my staging level, because I just go crazy. And I wanted all of them to be controllable from my throttle. So yeah, SwitchKat, SwitchIt slow motion, so that controls 2 turnouts, and you can get a SwitchIt that controls more than 2 turnouts. I think they might have. I know they have a 4. They might have an 8. Again, more expensive, but as a total unit price, it's less expensive if you're controlling multiples of those. And then finally, the Hare, which is a self-contained unit. You can also hook up and have your indicators there. You've got a number of places where you can have push-button control, or off of any 3 of these, you can have momentary switch control on your fascia to control them. So as well as the DigiTrax. DigiTrax actually has something you can slide in on these other terminals up here, these 10 up here, for either sensors. So you could have this automated and then switch automatically. I think there's instructions. I mean, the Hare instructions. The one thing these DCC Specialties guys do, they have very lengthy manuals. They cover a lot of different scenarios. For example, they're covering whether or not you want a momentary switch. They also cover how you implement an auto throw turnout in multiple situations. One of the big use cases there is when you have a turnaround, a loop. So you put in auto detection on one side, and then you can actually have it. And I believe DCC Specialties, or DCC Specialties, or somebody else also makes an auto reverser in addition to DigiTrax. DigiTrax has their old AR1, and they also have a BXPA1, I think it's called. Anyways, that will probably wrap up this show. I have to go and grab Rocky. And again, Rocky is off the rails here until next time. So next week, we won't have a live show. We'll be having a special edition of Roy Smith's layout photos, where I'll also include photos of Roy Smith, and we'll have an intro to go over his contributions that he's made. But until next time, I'll see you all on the other shows. Dwight's got his show coming up tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central. That's 11 a.m. for us Pacific people. And for Eastern time, it's at 2 o'clock. And then there's Sidetrack Sunday, which is at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that's also a great show if you're not attending that. But I think most people are. I'm like the last one to know about it all because I've been lazy. But anyways, thank you all for watching and sitting through some debugging and some also educational stuff we're all learning together. So that's what it's about. I did this not because I'm using these right now, but I wanted to actually show some turnout controls that some other people might not be using. And links to the other shows. Yeah, so does anybody have either of those handy? Dwight, can you post yours? So if you just, John, if you just go to Curly Express, Dwight's YouTube channel, you'll find that, and it's coming up. No, I'm not blue. I'm lost, Dwight. Yep. Let's see. I'll try to get that for you. And we'll put it in the notes here since I'm mentioning it. Curly Express and live upcoming share copy. There's Dwight's show. And is John still here, or is he gone? John Skullkill Valley. Is he still on? That'll be okay. John, if you go to this show tomorrow, somebody will ask about Sidetrack Sunday. Yeah, John, who's doing Sidetrack Sunday today? I mean tomorrow. I think it's at the top of the list because tomorrow's September 1st, right? So it's number 1 is up. I have the calendar here. Should just go bring that up. That's the reason why I made my calendar here. September 1st, Sidetrack Sunday. Oh, it's John. John is hosting tomorrow night. There we go. So that's John's channel. He's hosting. Yeah. I even have a calendar. I made a calendar to keep track of all these things about the shows that I attend. Yeah. John's a great presenter. Don't know what this topic is this week, but there's always something good happening, and usually a lot of funny things happening as well in the all the sideshow, all the commentary is always hilarious. Also, it seems that we also, if you know Sparky, we're always roasting the Canuck. So Sparky's a good guy. And actually, Sparky was one of the first people to identify my channel, as well as Uncle Wilmer. Another good show, Indian Head Valley Railroad, I think that's the name of his channel. He also has a show that he does, and he also did a shout out years ago for my channel. I think it got me close to 100 subscribers back in the day. But we're at over an hour in. I think we'll call this a wrap, and we'll switch to camera. I don't have any outros or intros, but I suppose eventually I will make those up. But yeah, until next time, 2 weeks from now, we'll come back with another live show. Next week, we'll do the layout photos. Usually a short run, only about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes long. But thank you all for coming. Till next time.